What is up, everybody? I am your local Ottawa fan, and I am here today to talk to you about the 30-27 loss to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I have so many mixed feelings about this game. It was a close game and not a close game. It was good for us and bad for us in multiple ways. So first, I just want to break down why I think it's good for us, or why it's bad for us, but good for us, but bad for us. So the most obvious reason is a loss is a loss. Doesn't matter whether you lose by 3 or 30, a loss is a loss. It sucks to lose. It's bad. It puts us in a bigger hole. Straight up. If we win this game, we're one game out of the playoffs. We are knocking on the door. We are breathing down BC's neck. Instead, we're 2 games back now. Thankfully, because of just how the league's been this season, BC and Montreal are both at 5 wins. And Winnipeg is now at 5 wins. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility playoffs. It's not out of the realm of possibility a home playoff game. The East is that bad this year. There's Hamilton, and then there's everybody else in the East. And honestly, I think the difference between those 3 teams isn't that big. I think that with the injuries Montreal has suffered, they are a very bad team. When healthy, I think Montreal is the best team in the East, but they are very much not healthy. And I think that a healthy Red Blacks team versus an unhealthy Alouettes team, I think the Red Blacks win by 20. I really do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Argos right now are the worst team in the league. Pretty inarguably. Like, they're the worst team in the league. They're also dealing with injuries, and it's to a point where I'm wondering how much time, when he's healthy, if he's healthy, Chad Kelly's even going to see. Because if your season's gone, like, you want to get your starter in, even, yes, I dislike Chad Kelly a great deal, but I have to understand that he's going to be played. But you're going to be cautious with him if the season's lost. You're not going to be reckless with him and risk him getting re-injured and tanking another season. So, a lot's on the table. So, it's bad, though. A win would have been huge for us staying in the playoff race. We aren't completely out of the playoff race somehow, but that has a lot more to do with everyone else than it does with us. We aren't in the playoff race by the merit of how good we've played and how strong of a team we are. We're in the playoff race on the merit of the other teams just kind of suck. Like, there's, in my opinion, 3 tiers of team right now. Tier 1, Saskatchewan, Calgary, Hamilton, Grey Cup contenders. Teams who seriously have a shot. I think the Grey Cup's going to be Saskatchewan versus Hamilton, and I think Saskatchewan's going to win. If I were to make a prediction right now, look, as much as I want to say, oh yeah, Red Blacks by 20, it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic that we, A, make the Grey Cup, and B, win said Grey Cup. It's not likely, of course, again, CFL, anything can happen, but if I were to predict, I'd say Saskatchewan, Hamilton, Saskatchewan by 8 to 12, around there. I think that it'd be a 1 to close 2 score game. I know that, yes, they just put the beat down on Hamilton. I think it'll be different in the postseason. And Calgary is also a team where, if there's any team I see beating Saskatchewan in the West Final, it's Calgary. Then the next tier are teams where I'm a little unsure of. And this is actually where I place Ottawa by this much. It's BC, Montreal, Winnipeg, surprisingly enough, and Ottawa. And then there's 1 tier down, and that's where I place Edmonton and Toronto. And honestly, Edmonton might move up, or maybe Ottawa might move down. I really think that the game between Ottawa and Edmonton next week is going to decide a lot of the future for both teams. If Edmonton wins, I think that's it. We're done. Every team in the West has more wins than us. There's going to be a crossover. It doesn't matter whether we finish 3rd or 4th in the East. That would pretty much do it. If we beat Edmonton, that really puts them out of the playoff race, because for a West team to win the crossover into the East, they need to outright have a better record. Like, that's the thing. If we finish with the same record as BC, and it's a fight for the crossover in the East, we are in. That's the advantage. We're an Eastern team. We have that advantage. If we are behind the 5th placed Western team, I don't see it happening. We'd need to leapfrog too many teams. If Edmonton is dead last in the West, I don't see it happening for them. They need to leapfrog too many teams. I think that game is really important, and I think it's a very winnable game. And the reason I say that is because I look at the past few games, and I see a competitive team. I look at some of our other games as well. Our loss to Saskatchewan, our first loss to Hamilton, those were close. Those are good teams. At our best, we are competitive. At our worst, we're the worst team in the league. This game is exemplary of that because we played awful football in the first half. Just abysmal. To the point that I was only watching because I had to make a video. Like, I wanted to turn the game off. It was that bad. And then in the second half, and especially the fourth quarter, we turned things around. We had back-to-back games where we overcame a 3-score deficit. But when you have to constantly overcome 3-score deficits, you aren't always going to win those games. And this is a perfect example. Yeah, we tie it up, but we dug ourselves too big of a hole. And now that first drive where we got to the 1 and couldn't get any points out of it, that really stings. It probably is the difference between us winning and losing the football game. And look, I am not mad at going for it on 3rd and goal at the 1. What I'm mad is you have 1st and goal at the 1 and you didn't score 7. And there were no penalties. You had a loss of 1 yard on the first down, which first off, that's the one thing you need to avoid, is losing yards. 1st and goal at the 1. Like, you, at the bare minimum, you just need to get stuffed so you have 2 more chances to gain a yard. We gained a yard on 2nd down. It's because we lost a yard that we didn't score what would have been a difference-making, game-winning touchdown. Not game-winning at the time, but it would have been the difference. So no, I'm not mad at the decision to go for it. I'm mad at the play call, and I'm mad at the fact that it's a yard. You are right there. You need, like, there's no excuse when you're 1st and goal at the 1. There's no excuse for not scoring 7. No excuse. And when you lose by 3, oh boy. Oh boy. It would have been better if we just kicked the field goal. It was a comedy of errors in the first half, and then we did turn things around. And again, it's bad. So that's the good, right? That we are being competitive. That we are facing a team like Winnipeg, who I do think is decent. I do see that they're probably going to make the playoffs, and they're a decent team, you know. They've made 5 straight Grey Cups. Are they going to make a 6th? It's a tall order, but, you know, they are a team that plays their best in the postseason, so who knows? And we put up a valiant effort. We made them shake in their boots a little bit, right? This game was done. It was over. Winnipeg had won it. And then in the blink of an eye, we scored a touchdown to tie it up in the 4th quarter and then got a pick. We had an opportunity to win the game. I'm going to get to the play call at the end. It was a terrible decision. Passing short on 1st down to Braylon Addison is maybe the dumbest play call possible. I get short yardage. I get passing. I don't get short yardage passing in this situation when Winnipeg has a timeout. Because what's the best case scenario? Addison catches the ball, gets 5, 10 yards. No different than if you run it. The difference is if you run it, you force Winnipeg's hand. They have to use their timeout or you can waste the clock. You can eat up enough clock that they never get the ball back. Instead, when you short yardage pass, the worst case scenario is it's incomplete. Well, I guess it's picked, but incomplete is still a bad enough case scenario. If you're going to pass with under a minute left in a tie game, deep in your own territory, do what Winnipeg did. Go deep. Go deep. Because worst case scenario, it's incomplete or intercepted. Okay, they're going to get the ball deep in their own territory. Best case scenario, you seal it. You get a catch that puts the game to bed. You could take a couple knees, wind down the clock to 3 seconds left, and trot out Lewis Ward to kick. It doesn't even need to be a field goal. Could be a rouge. And if it goes incomplete, at the very least, it went incomplete trying to go 40 yards, 50 yards. It was a good shot at getting 20 yards. At least it would have been like a deep shot to try and put the game away. Short yardage pass in that situation, to me, doesn't even make sense. I get it. Oh, he's got to catch that. And do what? It was behind the line of scrimmage. I hate passing behind the line of scrimmage in your own territory with under a minute left in a tie game when your opponents have a timeout. It's a play call that is nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. But at least it was close, right? And this is, again, the good and the bad. We had problems this game with noise. Yeah, fans in Winnipeg were too loud. Look at me. I am, your local Ottawa fan. I am a diehard. I love this team. Every game I'm watching. I've been a season ticket holder for a few seasons now. It's been a while. I've been there through some pretty yucky seasons. Some pretty abysmal seasons that were just hard to watch. I've gone to a game, I think every season since they became like a thing. I love this team. I love going to games. I love watching them. I've been following this team literally since I was a kid. Like a teenager, but still. Like, I've been following this team for over a decade. So, I am really hurt to see that be an issue. Because I can remember a time where every game in Ottawa was a sellout crowd. Every game, we're talking 35,000 people. It was the place to be in Ottawa. It was the other team that had to deal with noise. And now, Red Blacks don't know how to deal with noise. And it makes sense because we have, 15,000 fans at our games? Losing is bad. Losing culture is bad. But there's also a part of me that says, how could you, as a Red Blacks fan, not watch these past 3 games and say, I gotta see the next one? Because even though they lost, they made it entertaining, didn't they? Yeah, it started bad, but back-to-back comebacks of 17-plus points. Yeah, you lost one, but the fact that we came back at all, that is entertainment. Not to mention, we did beat Calgary. Yes, it was a very injured Calgary team, but sometimes you need those wins. Sometimes you need those scheduled wins. I'm hoping that's what Edmonton is. I'm hoping Edmonton, Edmonton, we lost to them in Edmonton. I'm hoping that the opposite effect can take place. That they come into Ottawa. Ottawa's locked in. I'm hoping that Drew Brown is healthy. He went down with injury this game. He's grabbing his leg. And I don't know how it looks. He was able to walk off, right? He was walking around the sidelines. I remember other times he was out in the locker room, done. And that's scary. He was helmet off, but on the sidelines walking around. I'm hoping that it's something whereby Friday he's good to go. And he's able to play. Because I think with Drew Brown in, I think we win against Edmonton. I do. But Dustin Crum did have a good game. So I can't be mad at Crum. I was mad at him when we didn't get that touchdown at the start of the game. I'll quickly go over it, right? They walk down the field on the first drive. It's 3-0. We get a great drive, first and goal. Like I said, we don't get it. We don't convert. And then they just make defense turns into mincemeat. Winnipeg just trots down. And boom, just like that, 10-0 Winnipeg. Being down 10 after the first quarter, never a good start. And we suffer another 2 and out. We had a bad start on offense. I've noticed Drew Brown is a really good second half quarterback, which is, again, why I'm like, we stayed competitive. I've not lost hope. Our defense is very ineffective. Winnipeg makes it 17-0. And finally, we get a field goal. Now, we got some... I've complained about refs before. I need to admit, the refs, especially in the first half, were very generous to the Red Blacks. They made some calls that, had it been the other way around, I would have been fuming. The first and goal was only a first and goal thanks to, in my opinion, a ref ball PI. Like a very, very light pass interference, which I now retroactively wish they hadn't called. Then we would have just kicked the field goal and gone to overtime, which would have been better. But yeah, I want you to know, I see it when it happens for us. The refs were pretty favorable to Ottawa this game, which, you know, it's funny because that's not where we took advantage. That's not where we scored a bunch of points. It wasn't because, oh, well, a million calls that were complete bull happened to happen, and oh, Ottawa scored 17 points and tied it up. It was when we were down by 17, as we were going down by 17. The refs were like trying to keep us in the game, and we said, no, thank you. The reason why we got back into the game was completely separate from that. But I want you to know, I see it. The refs were bad this game, and they favored Ottawa. Now, look, I would have been okay with winning thanks to a little bit of ref ball. It wouldn't have felt the best, but every team, I want you to know, every fan is okay with that. You know, every fan is okay with a bad call kind of benefiting you, because it happens. It happens to everybody. You know, if this was that one game where the refs made a bad call and it's what won us the game, it wouldn't have made me cry. You know, sorry, Winnipeg. But no, even with the bad calls, we still lost. So I do want to mention that. But yeah, it's 17-3, and we need a stop, and our defense gets a stop. We then give up a pick in our own territory, and while the defense does hold strong, again, the defense afterwards started to play pretty well. The defense, I find, they have like past few games, really bad starts, like horrible starts, and then they actually did okay. And yeah, so it's 20-3 at the halftime, which again, we lost by 30, so shows you how many points they allowed for the rest of the game. 3rd and 1, we have a decent starting drive. Crum keeps the drive going. We get another 3rd and 1, and we continue to press, and we keep going. And what absolutely should be a sack. What absolutely should be a sack after a few 3rd and 1 conversions. We're on, I think, 2nd down. Drew Brownie turns what should have been a 20-yard loss, nothing play, into something. He keeps running, does almost like a shovel pass to get the 1st down, and then he goes down with injury. We do get to the 4-yard line and ultimately convert to make it 20-10. But that injury, I thought the game was for sure over. I have to say, Crum did play well. I'm somebody who believes that we need to see more of Tyree Adams, but you can't start him next game. You can't. Crum played good enough that if Brown isn't healthy, you have to stick with Crum. I think you only put in Adams if Crum has a bad game. That's when we finally get to see him. And if Crum has a bad game, I think at that point, season's done. You just are trying to see who your future backup is going to be. But yeah, we make it 20-10. Our defense gets us a stop. But I'm thinking, you know, Brown's out, 10 points. It's a tall order. We suffer immediate 2 and out. We get a stop, and then Crum suffers a giant sack. But this time, no stopping Winnipeg. They make it 27-10. They restore the 17-point lead deep in the second half now. Game over, right? Well, we do get a good drive going. 3rd and 1 at the Winnipeg 39. We settle for a field goal. 27-13. I hated the call at the time, especially because we converted a few 3rd and 1s. I get that earlier it wasn't, but I also understand. We're at the 39, you know, great. You convert it, you still need to go 38 yards. I was thinking, though, like, you got to be playing for the win. Well, even on 1st and 20, doesn't matter. Winnipeg converts the 1st down, but we do stop them at midfield. They punt. We got a good, strong drive going. Justin Hardy, who's been having a great season, as always, in the end zone. Touchdown. 1-score game. 27-20. And then Winnipeg is driving, and, well, already hit one. 63-yarder last game. Why don't we try another one, Winnipeg says. And Khalil the Thrill Pimpleton, after the missed field goal, goes all the way back 117 yards for a game-tying touchdown. And in a blink of an eye, the Red Blacks are back in it. Okay, Next drive. Winnipeg throws a pick deep in Ottawa territory. Ottawa has a chance to win. Like I said, bad play call, bad decision, should have ran. Winnipeg gets the ball back. This time they get into clear, still field goal range, and he kicks it through. Winnipeg wins on a walk-off field goal. But like I said, fans in Winnipeg, another sellout, loud, crazy. It's not like that at Ottawa. And we want to get back to that point. And I'm like, is this good or bad for that? On the one hand, with how the game was going, it's easy to say that this is a losing culture. Like, we were down by a lot. And if we lose this game by 17, by 20, becomes a lot harder to excuse that, right? To keep Condell, to keep Dice, to keep everybody, to not make some major changes. If we are, now we're 3-7. If we're 3-7 and we've suffered a few blowout losses, that's indefensible. That can't be excused. But 3 or 4 of them have been one-score games? Close losses? This team could easily be like 6-4. If a few things were different. Honestly, if Drew Brown stayed healthy against Hamilton and Saskatchewan, good chance that those games could have flipped. Especially Saskatchewan. We had another game against Hamilton. They scored a touchdown in like the final minute. We came, genuinely, we are probably about 11 points away from at least being 500. But we aren't. We're 3-7. But at the same time, we're 2 games behind in the playoffs, and the past few games have been fun. The past 3 games have been a good watch. Entertaining. Like, I'm jealous of other CFL fans, non-Ottawa, non-Winnipeg fans who watched this game, because that was some damn fun football. We had 6 straight games that were great, that were decided by a score from last week to this week. Just great games, good for the sport, great entertainment, the kind of games that make fans want to go and see more. What I want more than anything else on Friday is to win a close game against Edmonton. You know, a walk-off field goal, last-second touchdown, a third down stop with seconds to go, up by 1, up by 4, up by 4. They're pressing. They're at the Ottawa 5, their 3rd and goal, with a chance to take the lead, and we get a stop. Stuff like that. I think games like that will bring fans back. Games like this, while they hurt, it was fun. It was entertaining. It was a thrill ride. But you need to win. Now, we did do that against Toronto. If we can get a few more, still hope. Like I said, mixed feelings. I really think my feelings will be a lot clearer after our game against Edmonton. And as always, go Ottawa, go.